Welcome back to Black Renaissance. He has so much to share. We decided to invite him back for a second time here on the show. Please welcome Bishop Clark of the Word Assembly. So good to see you again.
Good to see you. Good to be here.
We just had you on, what, last month?
Yeah, last month.
Last month, and we had a great conversation about how some of the challenges that churches face trying to get young people into the church. And you have a unique way of addressing that has been really effective. Tell me a little about that.
Well, you know, and I think last time we talked about it, it is indeed the favor of God coupled with a relevant message. And I think where the church has kind of missed it is that it has not appealed to the issues that people face.
Yeah.
And so as a result of that, people come to church, some out of habit, and they leave empty, unfulfilled, unsatisfied. And as a result of that, they say, you know what, I think I'm going to try to seek fulfillment elsewhere.
It doesn't really apply to them.
It doesn't really apply at all. And application is indeed what makes the difference. When you study the life of Jesus Christ, you'll see a fellow who preached the Word of God in such a way where it was portable so that people could practice it. And I think that's one of the things that makes Word Assembly unique. You come, you get a word that you can relate to, but then also you can take with you so that you can live it out Monday through Saturday.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's definitely a challenge for adults, but even more so, I would think, for young people. So tell me about some of the series and sermons that you've had specifically geared toward young people.
Well, we just did a series finished out on rethinking sex. We're in the process now of doing one called Rethinking Christian Living. So this whole rethinking thing has kind of been the unspoken theme this year at our church. And what I've discovered with young and old, that once someone's mindset changes, then their life changes. If you change the way you think, then you change the way you live. Looking at some of your guests that were on earlier, all of those cater to our mindset. How do we view those who went on before us? How do we view our bodies and eating? How do we view training those young men of colors? It is about getting their minds to rethink things. And I think when you get into the heart of a young person, when you get them to start seeing themselves the way God sees them, it changes them in ways that will, I mean, it's just exciting to see. Lights come on when someone says, you know, I am different and I can be different. And there's a possibility for me to achieve my dreams and goals, and all of that the Word of God speaks to.
And I would think it brings sort of a sense of self-confidence as well to young people who are sort of looking for something. These are not subjects that are typically broached in church, though.
No, it's not. You know, typically in church, it's surviving the struggle and waiting until you get to heaven. Well, I decided, you know,
that's a good way to sum it up. That's what we hear.
I'm not going to wait till I get to heaven to live. And the scriptures teach us very emphatically that Christ came that we might have life and life more abundantly. And I think Word is kind of tapped into that we are about teaching people how to live life the way God intended. And it is amazing when you really understand what God desires for us by way of living. It's phenomenal.
What has been the reaction from the congregation, from people coming in and newly hearing these types of sermons from a church, a place that you may not traditionally expect to hear it?
First, initially, it's a shock. You know, can you imagine a whole month talking about sex in church?
No, I can't. I can honestly tell you
it's a shock. And then now the series Rethinking Christian Living. And the premise is that a relationship with Christ or Rethinking Christian Living, it's not about rules. Now watch this. It's not about rules. It's about relationship. So here you are learning every Sunday that it is possible for me to live the life that God intends for me to live. And it's not about me keeping a certain amount of rules. That in of itself is attractive to people, because when you think about religion, you think about what you can't do.
Sure.
And in actuality, there's way more that you can than it is that you can't. And the reality is everything that it is God has shared with us we couldn't do is for our benefit. So when you start looking at those things that you can't do as things that ultimately hurt and hinder your progress, then there's a different mindset toward that. And so you kind of gravitate to that which works and betters your life.
Sounds like it's something that's ringing true with your congregation. People are showing up.
Oh, we ain't got enough room for them. I'm just great. That's a good problem to have.
Yeah, absolutely. It sure is. It sure is. And you feel like you're hitting the message with young people.
We are hitting the message with young people, and not only young people. Let me take a chance this. I'm the preacher. Now watch what I say here. We're not only hitting with young people, but we're hitting with all people from various walks of life, particularly those who have different sexual orientations that are not normally accepted by the church.
Now that is truly revolutionary. Thank you so much for joining us again, Bishop Clark. It's a pleasure to have you. For more information about the Word Assembly, go to wordafc.org. That's wordafc.org. That's all for us today. We'll be back with more next month. Thanks for joining us.